Okay, I'm shutting up.
It's Saturday night.
Time for your weekly dose of pop culture.
With Kathy and Kenny. Welcome to the show.
Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. I don't know why you're not on the screen. Okay, now I do. Because I guess I didn't do my pre-check. Well, you were on there a minute ago, and I don't know what happened. Oh well. Okay,
Well,
Sarah. It is you know what I was about to say? It is Saturday night, and it's not Saturday night. It's Sunday night. Welcome to Kathy and Kenny Explain Pop Culture, where on a weekly basis we pick a topic, we drill it to death, and that's just what we do. And
yeah,
we thank all our pop
it's
culture kids who
Sunday.
come along for the ride.
It's Sunday. We lost the hour, not a whole day.
Okay, that's right. We did lose an hour. We lost an hour.
We lost an hour, not a whole day. Lisa, how you
Not a
doing,
whole
baby?
day. Little sweet tea to get us started. I know that whole hour thing had me. I was like napping this afternoon. I thought I was going to get so many things done, but I felt just the need to nap.
You know, I didn't get a lot done today, and actually, I did get some things done today, but it's Sunday, and I'm okay with that.
hmm
I'm okay
I'm
with that.
okay with that as well.
I'm okay with that.
I
So,
my day of rest because
so
our
the play is all done.
the play is all done. Last night was our closing night. Great show, great audience. One night this weekend, we had an audience, and we were like, "You ain't in a black movie theater." They wanted to talk back to the play. It's like one character, he goes to the cooler and gets a beer out and opens the beer and drinks it. And and we're sitting backstage and we hear somebody in the audience going, "I want one." And I'm thinking, "You've had too many." That was a trip.
Wow.
That was
Wow,
kind of
wow, wow, wow.
fun and funny, you know. So,
So, okay, well, let's get into it. Let's get into it. Let's start with pop culture news.
okay, you know what? I still have last week's news up.
Yeah,
I
we don't
don't
want
think
to talk
I've
about.
updated the news, but we'll
Okay,
do it
that's
as
all
we
right.
go along. We'll
That's okay.
do it
You
as we
lost
go
an hour.
along.
You didn't update. That's okay.
I'm sorry. What would you say?
I said you lost an hour. You didn't have a chance to update. I'm okay with it. I'm so laid back and okay with it.
All right, that's
So
cool.
first, I want to talk about Nick Swartzen. Nick Swartzen is a guy who is in a lot of Adam Sandler movies, and he's a
Okay,
stand-up
yeah.
comedian. So apparently, last week he was kicked off stage in Colorado, the Law Performance Arts Center in Beaver Creek, because his number one, his act was that bad and that offensive, and he blames it on the fact that he'd had some alcohol and some edibles before going on stage.
Not a good mix.
So yeah, so he was very, and most, as a performer myself, there are a lot of performers who can't get on stage without loosening up with like a drink or weed or whatever they might want to do. And there's some performers that won't touch anything until they're done performing.
Right.
Apparently, Nick couldn't make up his mind on which one he wanted to be, and he just went all over the place with it. So that's what you got there. Next, we have on pop culture news. Now, remember a couple of months ago when Elmo got on, I think it's X or one of the social medias, and he said, "How's everybody doing?" And like there was a line of people that just tell Elmo how they were doing, like Elmo was their personal therapist. Well, now we have another Muppet making the news because the Cookie Monster was on Sesame Street talking about uh, what he likes to call shrinkflation,
Okay.
which is, the Cookie Monster, was talking about like the cookies being smaller, so he would have to eat more. He's smaller now, and he was talking about the economy, how much things were, and from this, a whole bunch of people posted, I guess, on the Cookie Monster website or Sesame Street website in agreement with the Cookie Monster, so much so that the White House even responded to this, to the Cookie Monster, complaining about shrinkflation. So uh, apparently, our Muppet characters and Jim Henson's legacy is that I feel like the Muppets are being heard more than me because I don't, if I post something about nobody changes anything, apparently Cookie Monster posts about the economy, and the White House responds. So I guess it's not, it's who you are apparently.
It's who you
February
make.
last month, and I should have did this. I should have did this last month.
Mm-hmm.
February marked the 50th anniversary of one of my favorite movies, Blazing Saddles, which is hands down to me still one of the funniest movies ever. But Blazing Saddles shared its 50th anniversary, and I was checking out. I was when I watch a movie and when I talk about a movie, I always look the movie up, Google the movie. IBM and Mel Brooks is like the only one alive from that movie right now.
Wow.
Everybody else is dead.
And he
Like
was he was the oldest person probably in that movie at the time of the
he's
movie.
the oldest person in that movie when they made it, and he's the only one still alive now because Mel Brooks is. I don't know, Mel Brooks is like 98, 99, something like that.
Wow.
We should really do a Mel Brooks show. Give him his flowers before he passes away.
All right.
Is
Well,
what
we'd
I'm
have to
saying.
do it next month. This month is all about the women.
It's all about the women this month, but next month we're doing. I got some other ideas too
Okay.
because because right now I'm watching the movie. She's out of my league.
She's out of my league. Hmm.
Yeah, that's the one where the geeky guy gets the really attractive girl, and even when he takes it to the family goes, "Yeah, what are you doing with him?" Like because
Ouch.
yeah, I know.
That's
Well, that
harsh.
happened to me one time.
Huh?
I had a date and I brought her over to the house and we're sitting there watching TV. And Daddy walked in the room just like when I was early 20s, and he goes. It was when I was dating Tammy. He goes, Tammy, I was just upstairs talking to my wife and we're trying to figure something out. Are you okay? Is something wrong with you? And she's like, No, I'm okay. Said, oh, you're dating our son, and we're trying to figure out because you're an attractive girl and everything, and you seem kind of smart. And we didn't understand what was wrong. And I'm like, Yo, dude, now this is not the time. This is not the time. So I get where he's coming from this movie. We need to do a show about the movies where the nerds get the girl.
Okay. Oh, I can add a it's not really pop culture news. It's kind of old news, but I was celebrating this week because this week um, marked it would have been the 68th, I think, birthday of my favorite singer, Tina Marie, on March 5th. So March 5th, I was blasting my Tina Marie. Before the show, we all play music and stuff to get us kind of hyped and in the mood for the show. So I had to introduce some of these white folks to Lady T. So I was just jamming my Tina Marie.
Is that like the time we did that play together and I was in the chorus and all the women guys were dressed up in one room, women were dressed up in the other room, and all the women heard the guys like screaming something, the music blasting because I turned everybody on to Let's Go Crazy by Prince,
Hmm.
and we were blasting Let's Go Crazy in the dressing room. So yeah, good times, good
Yeah,
times. I
good
love a
times.
nice
Lisa's
cat.
saying that she watched The Holdovers. Pretty good movie, and I know it's one of the movies that's up for an Oscar. And I think Joy Divine. I don't know her last name, but I watched the very first Oscar presentation, and they had five different women up there introducing the nominees, telling a little story about them. I'm like, oh, holy crap, this thing is going to be on till like 2 o'clock tomorrow afternoon.
Yeah.
they they started it an hour early, and I would think so that they could finish up on time. But already you could tell it's going to be long. So we're kind of competing with the Oscars. So we're your Oscar
You know what
alternative.
though? Here's the thing. Because I did a little blip about it today, this afternoon, trying to get people to watch us. And who really watches the Oscar? Like the movies, I feel like the movies. It's not like it used to be back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the movies that the Oscars, you know, portrayed and gave awards to, were typical movies that you had seen.
Right.
Now it's looking like the Oscars go out of their way to be bougie with their movie selection. Like just plain old bougie with it.
What's bougie about Barbie? It's not bougie at all.
Well, yeah, well, Barbie, they couldn't ignore the fact of giving Barbie a nomination.
Well, because it was one of the most popular movies, and again, people just aren't going out to see movies the way they used to. I think part of that is because of the pandemic, and we found other ways to get our entertainment through streaming. And with the rise of streaming, now you can be in the comfort of your own home, and with TVs being so huge, like I have like a 75-inch TV in the living room, so I'm getting it's not 100 foot TV, but it's pretty large. And
Okay, yeah, I
to
don't like
top it
that.
off, I don't have a speaker system, but I do have like a Bluetooth speaker that I use for dances and stuff. So if I want that theater sound kind of to rumble through the room, all I do is hook up that speaker, and you can get
Wait,
like
wait, wait. You mean to tell me you don't have a sound bar on your TV?
I do not have a sound bar on the
Well, you
TV.
had the nerve to talk your 81-year-old dad into buying a bigger TV with a sound bar that I could hear
Well,
everywhere.
I know because he can't hear. That's why I told him to get the sound bar, because he's always playing the TV so loud. So I figure he needs the sound bar. I know, so you can't hear anything.
I think you did that to me on purpose.
No, he
I
doesn't.
feel,
He
I
doesn't.
feel like you could do
I
something.
was, even when I was, in the basement, I would be here. You know what was the worst thing though? Because he obviously needs like some kind of motorized transportation, and instead of getting something that's appropriate to move around the house with, he takes like office chairs and again, I was in the basement and all I could hear on the hardwood floors is this chair moving around at like 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning because that's when he went to bed. So, needless to say, for those of us who had to work in the morning, it was tough going. It was
Well,
tough
thank you
going.
very much.
And even in this new house, and it's like I would be in the bed or trying to get up ready for work, 5 o'clock in the morning. Doom, doom, doom. I hear the sounds of the LG TV going on because we gotta wake up to MSNBC every single morning. So yeah, it was rough going. I'm just saying.
So, but anyway, I feel like the Oscars are kind of outdated. They don't really, I've never seen a lot of superhero movies at the Oscars. I've never seen a Fast and Furious at the Oscars.
Well,
Let's
again,
get
the
to the movies that
Oscars
people really
didn't
want.
always get the popular vote, but I heard things about the holdovers, so I may have to watch that. I don't know if it's streaming or not, but I have to check that movie out. Let's get on to our topic because we need to,
Yeah,
it's
we
a
need to move
school
right
night for
along.
me, and my Sunday nights, I'm usually in bed by 9. So
All right.
we got to roll through the list because if I don't get to bed at a decent time on Sunday night, then my whole week is off and I'm late Monday and
Yeah,
it's
I
just a
got to get my
mess.
sleep too. You think Kenny Walker wakes up looking like this? I need my beauty sleep. I got to
Hey,
work at this.
hey, and I don't know what do you think? I guess I need to hear from you guys whether we should move back to Saturdays or stay on Sundays. I don't know. What do you think, Kenny? I don't know how this has been for you.
I honestly kind of like Sunday nights.
I kind of like Sunday nights too. It's weird. I
I
do.
kind of like Sunday nights.
So I don't know. Maybe
That
we
means
could.
Saturday I can go out and get my freak on.
Oh, yikes. Anyway, sure, fine, whatever.
My freak on.
See, and here's Lisa saying she has a sound bar and she never uses it. And I didn't even, I was going to get a sound bar for this TV. But again, I figure I have one of those Bluetooth speakers that I use for like, like when I had a cookout or whatever. And like, it's good to kind of throw poolside or in the backyard and you can use your phone or whatever. But my TV is Bluetooth. So I can actually play the TV through that speaker. So why buy a sound bar when I got this big A speaker sitting? I have nowhere to store it. I could store it out in the garage, but because in the summertime it gets pretty hot out there, and the wintertime pretty cold. I don't want it to fluctuate with those temperatures, so I keep it behind the couch anyway. So all I
I
gotta do is,
purposely, I purposely do not have a working TV in my bedroom.
oh wow, okay, that's good.
I usually listen to music at night,
I know, and
some jazz, some monk, some Mingus, or some Bad
And
Plus.
that's very evolved of you, but I know me and I know like sometimes I put the timer
Steve,
on because I need to hear that talking to get to sleep. Oh yeah, I'm sorry. I saw that. Steve. So hey,
Steve.
what are we talking about tonight? Cuz let's get into it.
Tonight we're talking about women villains, and we're leaving
Ah,
my ex-wife out of the list. But we're talking about women, female villains.
uh, it's always in poor taste. Anyway. Anyway. Don't
So
encourage
we're
him,
gonna
Steve. Don't encourage him.
okay, so we're gonna start at the bottom of our list. And it's the movie that I've watched in the last few years. I didn't watch it back in the '80s, but The Goonies.
The Goonies, and you were
Or
new
Mama
to this movie
Kelly.
too. I couldn't believe you had never seen the Goonies
Mm-mm,
until like a couple years
never seen the
ago.
movie.
Thanks to this
But
show, you actually
there's a lot
watched
of,
the Goonies.
like last year was the first time I seen the first Indiana Jones.
You never saw Indiana Jones?
Yeah, and then you know what? I didn't like it.
Wow. And you
I
didn't
didn't.
like it?
I didn't like it. No,
Oh, wow. That's
because
just
you know what? And it's my fault
that's
because I've already
unprecedented.
heard the theory that Indiana Jones is not relevant to the story. So when I watched it, I'm like, I'm trying to make them relevant to the story, and I realized they're right. Indiana Jones is not really relevant to the story.
Okay, I hear you.
So, but Anne Ramsey, who passed away actually probably about 4 or 5 years after she made this movie, did an awesome job as Mama Fratelli. She was just mean and scary. It's just there's no way you can put it.
So basically, in order to be a good female villain, you got to be mean and you got to be scary.
Exactly. Like our next contestant, the alien queen from Aliens, mean and scary. Kind of
Uh,
looks like my ex-wife a little bit, but mean and scary.
Yikes. Okay.
No.
Moving on.
Moving on. But yeah, so and you know what? When I was putting my list together, I never thought about because she was a female, she was the queen, and I never thought about it until I saw my list. And when I put my list together, I go to different various different sources. And I usually check out 5 different sources to make my list and whatever I have in my head. So when I came across this one, I'm like, you know what? That is a good one. That is a very good one. And Lisa, Jason's mom is not on our list, but she was on a lot of lists that I saw,
Uh,
and she would be a good villain. So everybody else out there, if you have any female villains that you could think of, shout them out. We might get to them, we might not get to them. Our list is very short for a reason, and I make the list, so we're not going to get everybody. We're not getting to all the villains. That'd be a lot,
I know, and it
So
should be noted that usually Kenny works on the list. I work on thumbnails and the visuals for the broadcast. Some weeks I don't get to the visuals because again, life gets in the way. And now that I'm finished this play, but Kenny, guess what? There's another play I'm thinking about auditioning for. I don't know whether I'll get it or not,
you know
because
what? Here's
characters
the
are
play.
the characters
There's
are
a play that
supposed to
I'm
be.
thinking about auditioning for.
I'm sorry. What'd you say?
There's a play that I'm thinking about auditioning for.
Okay.
I want to talk to you about that. I need some
The
help.
characters are supposed to be 60 to 80 years old, but in a nursing home. So I figure, well,
I
hey,
can
I'm
see
gonna
you
be
doing that.
60. Hey.
I can see you doing it. I can see
So,
you doing it.
so there you go.
I can see
You
you
know,
doing it. I can see
I'll
it.
throw on my little gray wig and just have at it. Okay, but you got the alien queen as the villain. Now, was she in all the movies or just the
Yes,
last?
of course. Aliens was in all the movies,
Okay, I
and
didn't.
in the Aliens versus Predator too.
And Alien versus Predator. Okay, so she's multi-dimensional, multi-movie
I'm sure there's probably
villain.
more. There's like I guess it's like a beehive. There's more alien queens. Like once they kill it, then another alien queen comes up, and
Oh, so
that
it's
has to
like
be
the
killed.
Slayer,
Yeah.
Buffy the Vampire Slayer. When the Slayer dies, then the new Slayer is appointed or something like that.
Okay. It's like president. I don't know. Okay, so
I
we
mean,
got
I
our
think
next one.
so. I don't know. I'm just taking a guess.
We have our next one, which
Okay.
is Misery.
Ah, ah.
And this is Annie Wilkes in
Annie Wilkes,
Misery,
played
played
by
by
Kathy
Kathy Bates.
Bates in Misery. Yeah.
And she was very psycho in this one. Kind of remind me of a couple of few ex-girlfriends. She was very psycho. And
Okay, we're finding a theme in tonight's show. It's like,
yeah, I know.
why
We
does
are.
this
We are.
female villains equate to your
Yeah.
love life? That says something more about you, I think, than about these
I know.
women. I'm just,
I
not
know.
to psychoanalyze, but I'm just
Yeah,
saying.
well, go ahead, psychoanalyze me. I'm stupid. But so anyway, Kathy Bates played this role, and I think this was like her first major role, I
Because
believe. And she played this so well. And
this
she
was
was able to
before
get to the
Fried
part
Green Tomatoes, which I loved her in, by the way.
in Five Green Tomatoes.
Fried Green
I've never
Tomatoes,
seen Five
which
Green
was based
Tomatoes.
on a book by um, Fanny Bryce. I think that's her name. Oh gosh,
Yeah,
now
I've
I'm
never
drawing a
seen
blank.
Five Green Tomatoes.
You've never seen Fried Green Tomatoes?
No.
You know what? I don't I don't even know what to say to this because some of these movies are kind of like cultural icons. Like I realized there was a gap in my pop culture knowledge, and that's why I sat through Fast and Furious. But I mean, come on, fried green tomatoes, it's a classic. I mean, okay, granted, it is a chick flick. I get it. But among the chick flicks, it is actually very, very well done. And actually I think I read the books, and actually that author, who I believe started out as a comedian, but she's written several books, and it's weird how certain characters kind of transfer from all these different books. But that was an excellent novel turned into a movie, as was Misery, which was a Stephen King novel. And I haven't read much Stephen King. I tell you, you know what? The only Stephen King book I've read several, but the first Stephen King book I decided to read was The Stand, which is probably his like longest book. But it was so great. It was so anyway, you know why I read the book? Because in the preface of the book, before he started into the story, he did a quote from a song, and he actually did a quote from a DeBarge song. I don't know if
Really?
it was from "I Like It" or what.
Stephen King knows the barge?
Yeah, so that tripped me out. I'm like, Stephen King knows DeBarge, so I was like totally in. But yes, Fried Green Tomatoes is a total chick flick, but it's just got I think some great performances in it, including Kathy Bates, Tawanda, and it's just it's worth the watch. I would love for you to watch it and see what you say. And if you don't watch it, here is my other suggestion. There is a YouTube channel called the VHS Club, and with Katie and Natalie, and they review movies mainly from the 80s and 90s. Is you should look at their channel, see if they have a review of it, so at least you can kind of get up to date on what the story is about.
I like Steve's comment here, where she says that he says that Kathy Bates can play a villain and a good character role, and she is one of those versatile actresses or actors
You know
that can
what?
play.
I
Well, not
just
every,
saw her on oh, what's that? It's a sitcom. Oh, Mike and Molly. I never really watched Mike and Molly, but here's what I noticed. Like sometimes I'll watch Friends at night, and I'll set the timer and the TV will go off, and then in the morning when I turn the TV on, when I get up at 4:30, it's still on Nickelodeon, and it winds up being like either Mom or Mike and Molly, which I'd never seen these shows before when they ran originally, but I actually get a kick out of them watching them, watching the repeats. But there was an episode with Kathy Bates in it, and she's just funny. She's got some just
yeah,
great comedic timing. Plus, she
she's a
can
great
do
actor.
the dramatic stuff too. So that's why
Yeah,
she's. And again, she's one of those performers who started on theater. So, and I think when you do theater, you get that
I
range
think some of the
that
best performers are in theater.
oh yeah, that you can do just about anything. So
Speaking
it's
of
pretty
the
cool.
best performers starting in theater, Kathy, why don't you tell them how they can support the show?
I can do that. I think I can do that. Kathy and Kitty explain pop culture. The easiest, cheapest way to support the show is just by giving this broadcast you're watching now a thumbs up. We're on YouTube. Kathy and Kenny explain pop culture. Please subscribe. Consider a subscription. You can always check us out at our website, kathyandkenny.com. That's kathyandkenny.com. It's scrolling up there somewhere. And you can check us out on Who's Got Next Radio on Tuesday nights. Just multiple ways to support the show. We appreciate Steve, Lisa, Scooby Life, all the pop culture kids who hang out during the broadcast. Appreciate you guys so much. But yeah, that's your public service announcement.
There you go. There you go. That's how we do. That's how we do.
uh
Okay. So, uh, Cerise
oh,
Lane.
uh Cersei Lannister. That's from Game of Thrones, which I have to
Okay.
confess, I
I've never.
I've never watched Game of Thrones, and that is a pop culture gap I have. I will admit, I have not
Excuse me. I've
watched
never
Game of
seen Game of
Thrones.
Thrones or Breaking Bad or
No,
Oz or The Wire because
oh,
I never the shows that people jump on that everybody jumps on and I don't like to follow the crowd. So I've
mhm.
never seen those shows.
Well, I know sometimes when it is a crowded field, I will avoid it. But Breaking Bad, I actually did go back and I kind of binged that series, and it was actually quite good. Bryan Cranston is really amazing, and
Excuse me.
Giancarlo Esposito is
Excuse me.
phenomenal. I love him as an
Oh yeah,
actor, and he's great in
he's great.
Breaking
He's
Bad.
great.
So, just to watch him is worth it. Now, what was the other one? And yeah, Game of Thrones. Maybe it, years will go by, and I'll come back to it because there have been series that I have watched or rewatched. But yeah, Oz. You know what? I think I watched Oz when it was
I
originally
watched
on
all of
HBO.
them. I didn't.
Oz was scary. Even I was
Yeah.
scared of Oz.
You know what?
Oz just scares me. Oh wait, SC says pains me to say, but comic book wise, DC has a lot of great female villains. Is that true or false? What's your opinion on that one?
I love you. As we all know, I am a nerd to the core. Right now I'm sitting on a table that is a Marvel table, and I got comic books on. I am a great DC fan because Batman is the best hero ever, and but I'm also a Marvel fan, and it's kind of hard to say if you're talking about literature wise, reading wise. If you're talking about movie wise, DC hasn't shown its best of anything. If you're talking about literature wise,
Well, you
DC
saying
does have
comic
some
book
really good.
wise.
Comic book wise,
Hmm.
comic book wise, nobody really has any real good female villains. I'll be honest with
No series at all.
you. Not with good villains. Good heroines, yes.
Hmm.
Not really good villains.
Who's
I
the
don't
best
think.
female heroine
In comic books,
in comic books?
uh, I like to think out of the box. I think one of the better female heroines in comic books is Black Widow. Not Black Widow. Black Canary.
Black who?
Black Canary.
Okay, is she Marvel or DC?
She's DC.
DC. Okay.
Black Canary is DC, but she's like a very earthly. Dark Phoenix is, but see, Dark Phoenix is. She SC says Dark Phoenix. Dark Phoenix, you can't really count Dark Phoenix as a female villain because the Phoenix Force is neither male or female. The Phoenix Force took over Jean Grey, and that's why people think is when Phoenix Force is in Jean Grey, that makes a female villain. But recently, the Phoenix Force took over
That's the same
5 different
Jean Grey
people.
from the Fantastic Four.
Jean Grey, no, what?
Oh, Jean Grey isn't
Jean
in the.
Grey is an excellent. Fantastic Four, Sue Storm, keep
Oh,
up. Everybody knows that. Like, what the
sorry.
hell? What are you talking about?
My bad.
You're
I'm
getting me
sorry. Okay, I made a
Jean Grey is
comic
for the
book.
Fantastic. Let's move on to our list because you make me hot. Let's go move on to Matilda and Agatha Trenchbull, played by
Uh-huh.
Pam Paris, which Miss Trenchbull was just a villain. She was evil, mean, and she just looked nasty. She just had a nasty look. She had nasty teeth, just everything. She was just like, oh, ugh, ugh. If you wanted to punish a man, make him sleep with her, because that was ugh. So,
I don't know. I don't know whether I like
and
this
the thing about this,
characterization of the villains having to be ugly.
yeah, no,
Is it-
no, and we're gonna see some villains that are not ugly. But and the thing about Pam Ferris, she is a very good actress because if you see her in regular without the Agatha Bull makeup and all that, she's a nice looking woman. She's a very pretty young woman,
Mhm.
older woman, middle age. Next, we're going to call up speaking of villains, superhero villains, Kate Blanchett and Thor Ragnarok as Hela.
Oh yeah, she was fierce in that one. I
So
actually
Hella
liked
was
Thor
like
Ragnarok.
Hella was just like killing people just because.
Yeah,
She was hurting people's feelings. Like she wouldn't just beat you up. She would hurt your feelings and then kill you. Like she was just evil.
now I don't
She just
think you
killed
have her
you.
on the list, and I apologize because I have the slides up, but I don't have my list in front of me. Did we actually have from what was the Disney Dalmatian movie? Um,
Cruella de Vil.
not Cruella de Vil, but um, oh, Angela Jolie played her. The
That
um,
wasn't Dalmatian. That was Maleficent.
oh, Maleficent. Yeah, is she on the
Yeah,
list? Oh, okay,
we don't have that on the list.
because when I see this, that's who I think of. I'm like,
Yeah, yeah,
you
you
think
do
they were
think that.
copying much or not? Lacking some creativity.
You know what? I stayed away from like Disney
Uh,
villains per se because I wanted villains, and I don't know.
oh, Steve just remembered one. The character in The Hand That Rocks the Cradle. I
Ooh, I never saw
remember
it.
that movie.
I
Oh
never saw it.
man, because
But
that
what would I get to somebody like that?
was
Because I
that
remember
Rebecca De
the movie.
Mornay. I'm trying to think who was
Was it Rebecca De Mornay?
in The Hand That Rocks the Cradle.
When you say Rebecca De Mornay, I think of Count the Money, Count the Money, Count De Mornay, De Mornay. Okay. So next we have Faye Dunaway as Bonnie Parker in the very famous Bonnie and Clyde.
And I don't know whether I would consider her like a top villain. I mean, because they were
Well,
basically partners.
here's why I put it on the list.
Why
Because
you got to
out
explain this
of
one to me.
everybody, out of everybody on this list, she was a real person. And she was a real actual villain. So all the bad things she did are actually documented in real time. So they did a movie about her, but this woman actually did some villain stuff. She actually killed people and shot at people and robbed people and everything else.
Uh,
So
well,
that's
you
why
know
she
what?
made
You
it.
could also put. Oh wait, who's didn't Charlene Theron play a serial killer? So that was like a real life villain. When she played that woman, I think she was a prostitute and she went around killing her Johns or something. And she killed
I
like
don't know
five
that
or
movie.
six or 10 of them. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know that movie.
You want to hear something crazy I saw on Facebook? Evidently, there was somebody in Statesville who was holding somebody hostage and like killed people and, something involving robbery and drugs and all kinds of craziness. And I'm like, wow, that's like right here in North Carolina. It's just crazy everywhere. And this morning, on watching the church service online, he's talking about, I guess, the violence and stuff going on in Philadelphia. It's just,
Yeah, a lot of balance going on.
I don't know
Yeah,
what
don't
I
take it
need any.
personal.
I don't know
Don't
if I
take it
need any
personal. It's dangerous.
dramatizations of evil. I just
Yeah,
need
kind
the
of dangerous.
fictional kind.
SC has one down there, Evil Queen from Snow White.
Ah,
The Evil
yes.
Queen from Snow
Now,
White.
wasn't there a new Snow White, like a musical or?
No, I think what you're thinking about is Enchanted, and it wasn't quite Snow White,
No. Oh
but
yeah,
there
I
was the
remember
Evil
Enchanted.
Queen.
Enchanted was
Yeah,
quite good.
I actually liked the first Enchanted. The second Enchanted was kind of like too forced for me, but the
Hmm.
first Enchanted I love, and my kids, the girls, were like young, especially Olivia was young teen, and this is actually the first Enchanted was actually a really good movie. I like it. I will watch.
Well, I
It's a
love
movie I would
Patrick
watch alone.
Dempsey. How could you not like Patrick Dempsey?
Yeah, Patrick Dempsey was good in that. Ronald McDonald Miller. Okay, so next on our list we have Lucy Liu as Orange Aishi in Kill Bill.
Kill Bill one. Well, she wasn't in
Kill
Kill
Bill
Bill
1.
two.
No, she wasn't. She was dead by then. She was in
Uh,
Kill Bill 1, and what made her a villain was that first of all, she didn't fight. She didn't fight at first. She sent everybody else to fight her, and the one girl that she did fight, the other lady, the heroine, did fight. She was on the list. She was potentially could have been on the list too, but I left her out because I had to choose between her and Lucy Liu. And I put Lucy Liu on there because it's Lucy Liu, of course. And that fight culminated the Kill Bill 1 series, and it was the ultimate fight. But the people that she had around her and her whole backstory on how she became like she was a villain. She was just not a nice person at all.
The my favorite fight was the one with her and oh wait, who's that black actress?
Oh, but
Uh
that's
no, not Vanessa
um.
Williams. You know who I'm talking about. She was
Mhm.
in oh gosh. I'm
Well, I
having a
know.
senior
And
moment.
she's the one that dated 50 Cent.
Huh?
She's the one that dated 50 Cent.
She dated 50 Cent?
Yeah,
I don't think so.
yeah,
She was in the movie. We talked about it a couple weeks ago with the four women. With Queen Latifah and Jada Pinkett Smith and
yeah. Set it off.
Set It
She was
Off.
also she played that game.
She was in Soul Food.
Yeah,
What's her name?
I can't remember. And it's on the tip of my tongue, and I see her. I can
I can
see her.
see her as clear as
She's in
day.
Independence Day. She was in Independence Day too.
Oh yes, she was in. That's right, with Will Smith.
We can name all the movies. Matter of fact, a friend of mine, an actor friend of mine, knows her personally.
Oh wow.
My friend Gerald knows her because
And
he
we
was in
don't
the
know.
movie.
Gerald was on the show like years
Yeah,
ago, like on the first show.
Gerald was in
Thank you,
Vivica Fox.
Lisa.
Vivica Fox.
I was
Thank
like,
you.
finally, somebody had to tell us because we were like,
Yeah, Vivica Fox.
Vivica A. Fox.
Vivica
That's
A. Fox. Yeah.
right. That's so funny because I can see her and I can
My
see
friend
her.
Gerald
I
was
can
in the
see her
movie
in
with her.
Soul Food and everything.
Yeah, my friend Gerald was in a movie with her, like a B movie with her. So yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
Um.
But I loved her
Next we
fight
have
scene in Kill Bill 2 and Kill Bill
yeah,
1.
yeah, that was a nice scene. Next we have One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Louise
Oh,
Fletcher and
and
Mildred Rat
um
Nurse
I
Ratched.
think Steve mentioned this already. I gotta find his comment because he had her down as a villain. Oh no, not Steve. I'm sorry. SC. I don't know who SC is, but thanks for being here, SC.
Yeah, thank you for being here, Steve. We appreciate you. And I like your comic book knowledge, SC. But Nurse Ratched, yes, Nurse Ratched is was. I remember seeing One Flew Over Cuckoo's Nest back when I was a kid, and Nurse Ratched was Ratchet. She was. Yeah.
Nurse Ratchet.
Like it's bad enough you're in this place, but you have somebody like that who takes total advantage of it and just totally like, yo, that's a mean person. Like you're at their whim, so you can't like.
And
She knows.
I think I don't know where it was. I was reading where I guess the author of One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest did not like the movie and was not
Really,
pleased with the way it was executed.
well,
But
that
and
happens
my thing
sometimes.
is, but I'm sure he collected the money and enjoyed the money. But
Yeah, yeah,
when and I can't think of a time when there has been, and maybe somebody in the comments can help me out on this one, a time where the movie was actually better than the book or it well I will say a movie like The Color Purple, I've said this before, I had trouble reading the book and actually the movie helped me actually understand because the book was written from Seeley's perspective and that broken English I had trouble with. But when has a movie been better than the actual book?
yeah. I don't. Yeah.
Mm.
Um,
Oh wait, what
Lisa,
about Grace Jones in
Thompson, Grace
Boomerang?
Jones was
She was
really a villain.
scary and ratchet.
Yeah, but she wasn't really a villain. She was just a presence. She wasn't really a villain. She really didn't do anything to affect anybody in a villainous way. All she did was break up, cause an argument that broke up Eddie Murphy from Robin Givens' character. But she wasn't really a villain. There was no villains in that movie. It was pretty much a romantic comedy. So there was really no villain. If there was a villain in Boomerang, it would be Robin Givens.
Robin Givens. Why everybody want to pick on Robin Givens? Poor
No,
Robin.
but in Boomerang, if there was a villain in that movie, it would be her.
All right.
So next we have something that was remade recently, Mean Girls.
And you know
But
what?
the
We didn't put
original Mean
Mean Girls
Girls,
on the list when we were talking about movies that were originals and musical remakes because
yeah,
evidently the new movie is really kind of like The Color Purple. After the movie was made, they did a Broadway version of The Color Purple as a musical, and that's what this movie kind of depicted. And I think the same thing was true for Mean Girls. When Mean Girls came out, then they redid it as a musical on Broadway. So that's what this movie, and I think it's available now on, I think, Paramount Plus. So I probably need to watch it. I'll put that on my
It's
list
on
now that.
Paramount Plus. I haven't watched it yet. I've seen the first Mean Girls.
Oh,
Rachel
you have
McAdams.
seen the. Whoa, whoa, whoa! Hold on, stop. Stop the presses, because usually if it's a popular movie, you don't even touch it. But you've seen Mean Girls.
Because I was sitting with one of the girls one time and they watched Mean Girls. And I sat and watched it with
And did you not love it?
them. I didn't love it.
Was it not fetch?
It. I guess if you're using fetch as like a corny, outdated term, yeah, it was fetch.
It was fetch. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm gonna stop making fetch is not gonna happen. But
Fetch is not gonna happen. Fetch is not gonna happen.
before
But Mean
people
Girls
before
is
people
on
loved her
Paramount.
in The Notebook, um,
I never
uh,
seen that.
you've never seen The Notebook?
Why would I want to see that?
Okay, that is a chick flick. I'll give you that. And I think and I know the author of that particular book, I think a lot of his books are set in North Carolina. So I guess that's why I had a propensity to, okay, let's check this movie out. But how could you not love, like, James Gardner, and I think Gina Rowlands is like
I'm a James
amazing.
Gardner fan. I like James. I like some of the work James Gardner did in his life, but I'm
Gina
just not
Rowland
watching.
is like probably one of the most underrated actresses ever. If you don't
Yeah, I'm not.
believe me, you see
Yeah,
her in The Notebook, in
you know,
Gloria, or in what's that
I
movie
love
called? Oh,
her as
my
an
favorite,
actress.
Playing by Heart with Sean Connery. I'm telling you,
Yeah, I love her as an actress, but I'm
she's
not watching no book. There's nothing you can
you're not
do.
watching The Notebook.
Yeah, you can hold a gun to my head and say, "Watch this," or I'm shooting. I'm like,
It
you might as
it
well shoot.
is the ultimate chick flick, but you know what?
Yeah,
It's kind of like fried green tomatoes. When chick flicks are done well, they transcend being chick flicks. They
I will
they are
try out.
decent
No,
date movies because you could go, and I think the men will enjoy it just as much as
I
the
will
women.
try out fried green tomatoes before I try out the Notebook because I know what happens at the end of the Notebook. They die.
Oh, dude, spoiler alert. What if somebody hadn't seen The Notebook?
Everybody's seen the Notebook but me.
Okay.
Next on our list is one of the villains that I love. That is one of the reasons I want to make this list for this villain here. And this is Fatal Attraction, Glenn Close as Alex Forrest.
And here's where I kind of disagree.
She was a villain.
You
She
know what?
killed the rabbit and put
I
it in the
say,
stove for
I
the oven.
say, in this movie, Michael Douglas was the villain.
No, Michael Douglas. Why the man got to be the villain?
He's the
Why
one
the
who
man got to
cheated.
be the villain?
He's
Why?
the one who cheated. Was
So,
she
yeah,
married to
but
somebody else? So why are we making her the villain? That's all I'm saying.
because she was crazy, like most women, she was crazy. She
Okay.
knew. Look,
See,
she
that's
knew what
when
it
this show
was.
becomes a therapy session. Because
No,
I
no,
think
no,
you
no.
need some help.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. The women cannot
Will you please
gaslight
go get
at
the
all.
help? Now I'm saying lines for my play.
She knew. Look, she knew what it was when she did it. She knew he was married. She knew it wasn't something that was going to last. She knew what it was
He was a married man
when.
and he cheated. So is he not the villain? And why
No, he's not the villain.
why is he painted as this victim? See, that's
He's the victim.
oh no, I disagree. I say he was the ultimate villain.
They were
You know,
both villains. Steve. Hi, Steve. Stop trying to appeal to the women on the cast. Don't appeal to the women on the cast. Forget the women on the cast. Let them be mad at you. It's okay for them to be mad at you.
I
This is why.
disagree with this pick altogether. I don't find
But
Glenn Close. I think Glenn Close and Fatal Attraction, Alex Forrest is probably more a victim than
oh my
villain.
god. Oh my god. Are you serious?
I'm serious. I'm going with that.
No, you're
I
not.
really
You're
am.
not serious.
I
Okay,
am
the views of
serious.
Kathy Walker are not the views of this podcast.
the view-
I'm just
the
saying.
views of Kenny Walker are not the views, the sole views of this
Well, they're
podcast.
more realistic than the views of Kathy Walker. I'm gonna tell you that right now. She knew what it was
Oh my
when
gosh!
she did it.
Just because Michael Douglas was the villain, he cheated, which is why he got single white
Yeah, he
females.
did it.
Which, by the way,
But
you didn't include
he didn't try to
single
kill
white
nobody.
female. Now that was a villain because that
No, he
that
didn't
child
try
was
to kill
crazy.
nobody. No. He cheated, but he didn't try to kill nobody. Leave Steve alone.
Leave Steve alone.
You know what?
Steve.
Moving on to my next villain. I say the best for last.
Oh,
The
hold on for a
ultimate
second.
villain.
I just lost everything on my screen. My computer just went bloop. Um. All right. Here we go. Next villain. Uh-oh. No, I got no villains. I got nothing.
The grass is the villain in this one. The grass.
The grass is the
The
villain.
grass is the villain. Damn that grass. Because everybody in the world has hay fever. Everybody in the world has hay
Okay, but
fever.
hey, before we name the last villain, let's give the chat a chance to make their guess as to who you put on the list as the top female villain in movie history. Probably for most people, this was the um, first villain they encountered in the movies, because I think a lot of people saw this movie in their youth. So let's see if we can get a winner. And you know what? We need to get, because I know Lisa already has a shirt. I don't know if you have any more shirts left, but you need to get a shirt over to Steve. Steve needs his pop culture shirt. Because I actually wore my pop culture shirt this morning.
I got a
today.
specific shirt saved aside for Steve.
Oh, you have a shirt for Steve. All right, cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
I have a specific shirt saved aside for Steve. Steve just got to get a hold of me and get it.
All right, Steve, you hear it. The challenge is out. Kenny's in South Jersey. He's all over the place. So you have to hook up with him and get that shirt. But who in the chat, who do you think we have as the number one movie female villain of all time? Oh, see, now, wait, Kathleen Turner and Kramer versus Kramer. Was it?
Kathleen Turner wasn't Kramer versus Kramer, was she?
What? I don't know. I'm trying to think. Was she? Okay, absolutely. So Steve, we gotta hunt you down to get your shirt. And you know who I was else?
I haven't seen you, Steve. I haven't even seen you in about 20 years, so this is a good time. Drinks on you, buddy.
All right, so the number one villain on Kenny's list for female villains of all time, as we bring this puppy home, is
Wizard of Oz, Margaret Hamilton, Wicked Witch of the West, and Elmira Gulch.
Yes. And actually, I think that's the protagonist in the Broadway play Wicked, I believe, because it's a play or a musical from.
I've always wanted to see Wicked though.
Well, I think they're making it into a movie. I know it was a Broadway show. I've never seen the Broadway show. Actually, Kenny, there's a show tomorrow night in Charlotte. I was going to get tickets to go, but I couldn't swing my money to make it happen. But you know who I wanted to see in concert?
Oh,
don't laugh. Neil deGrasse Tyson is going to be in concert in Charlotte. And I think that would just be a cool show to go to. I watch his YouTube channel. I could listen to him talk about just anything all day long because it's just interesting. And yes, Steve, you're right. She is the ultimate villain.
Yes. Now, I'm gonna give you some Wizard of Oz trivia that I don't think anybody knows. It's very assumed that everyone that was in the Wizard of Oz, even because they made a big deal about the last Munchkin, the last small person who passed away from the Wizard of Oz. And the theory is that everyone that was in the Wizard of Oz has passed away. But do you know who's alive?
Who's alive?
The understudy or the stand-in for Judy Garland.
Oh, wow. But see, she wasn't on camera, though.
Yeah, she might have been when they had to do a stand-in scene or something like that, where they didn't show her whole front or something like that. And I'm sure she was a stand-in for when they had to do like camera sets and stuff like that. She is, I forget her name and I didn't write it down, but she is 104 years old.
Wow.
Yes,
Nice.
and she's still with us. So that
That's pretty
is it.
awesome.
So that is it. So I'm. You know what I'm gonna start doing also? I think in the future, I think we don't do anything political,
Time
but I
keeps on
think I
slipping.
think I think at some point we should do a podcast from the kitchen.
From the kitchen.
Yeah, like Katie Brick did.
Oh
We should do
God.
we should do a
You know what?
podcast
That
from the
that
kitchen.
that took me a minute. I'm sorry. I'm like, I didn't get it.
Look, we should do a podcast from the kitchen, and we should start whispering during the podcast.
And make it dramatic. Okay.
Dramatic and whisper.
You know, we're going to need to keep doing the podcast because it's going to be a tough year with all the other shows, news shows, and even comedy shows trying to sort through, which will be our election coming in this country. But that's not the point of this podcast. We are 60s babies reliving 80s and 90s moments. So we just thank you. Oh, that's right, Lisa. Oh, Kathleen Turner was in
Water
War of the
roses.
Roses. But
But,
you know what?
but,
That
but
movie,
Water
too,
Roses,
I think both of them were villains. Because,
both of
I mean,
them were the villains. Because
now
they both
they do
died at
die
the
at
end.
the end.
They both died at the end. They're both villains.
And they were just rough on each
And,
other.
and please, like I said, we didn't put all the villains in there. I left out really crappy villains like um, Cheetah from Wonder Woman 2, Wonder Woman 1984.
Oh,
That
yeah,
was a
Wonder
crappy
Woman
villain.
1984 was not
That was a horrible
very
movie.
good.
It was the worst
I
movie.
didn't like.
That, you know
I
what?
wanted to like it because I love Kristen Wiig, and I'm sorry, what's her name?
Gal Gadot,
Gal Gadot is.
who was in the Fast and Furious franchise
Oh God.
and died in the Fast and Furious franchise,
So
but
she
came
could make
back to
Wonder
life.
Woman, but she is an
But came
awesome
back to
Wonder
life at
Woman.
the last Fast and Furious franchise.
I think she's an awesome Wonder Woman. So.
Yes,
Oh, you
yes,
know
she
what
is.
I
The
was thinking
best
could be
Wonder
a
Woman
show,
we want.
Kenny, I don't know, like it would take some research, but you know what I was thinking? I think I saw a post on Facebook. It's all the actors who have been in both Marvel and DC universes.
I can get that together.
But again, we're still in Women's History Month, so I think we need
Yeah.
another women's topic. And
Steve,
if you like
Catwoman
Sunday,
is.
we could stay with Sunday. I mean,
We can stay with, I like to stay with Sunday. Steve, Catwoman is.
isn't she a hero?
Start off
She's
as
not a
a villain.
villain.
She started off as a villain, but now Catwoman is more like an anti-hero because now she's sleeping with Batman. So
Oh, that's in comic book lore.
in comic book lore, yeah, her and Batman are doing the superhero dance in tights.
Bats
They've
and
done it on
cats
rooftops and
together?
everything.
That's kind of
Yeah, they've
creepy.
done it on rooftops and everything.
Yikes.
Yeah,
True.
special.
That's
They were going
that's
to get
very
married. They were going to get married, and at one point they went on a double date with Superman and Lois Lane and Bruce Wayne and Selena Kyle, who is Catwoman. They all went on like a double date together.
the
It's
whole world
real.
of comic books I will never understand, but
It's real.
God bless you and God love you for it.
It's real.
Anyway, we will be
Next
back
week we're going
next.
to next week we're going to come up with another female topic. And did we
Yes.
say what we're doing?
I don't know whether we gave a topic for next week yet. Next week,
Um,
Kenny's going to watch The Notebook and Fried Green
I'm not
Tomatoes
watching
and
it.
come back and tell us
I
what he thought.
might watch. You can talk me into fried green tomatoes. You cannot talk me into notebook.
He's gonna watch Mean
There's no
Girls,
way.
the new Mean Girls movie,
Yeah,
and give his
you're not
thoughts.
talking me into the notebook though. You know what? You know what? We did. We're doing women, and next month for Women's Month to honor the women. Um, we could go a couple of routes, and I think we should talk about that, and we should let them know tomorrow which one we're gonna do.
Okay.
We could do female directors.
So
We
hey,
could do.
look for a post on our Facebook page or our YouTube channel, Kathy and Kenny Explain Pop Culture, or visit kathyandkenny.com, and we will let you know where we go next Sunday night. And I guess we're gonna live on Sundays for a while, see how that feels. And thank you guys for hanging out with us, for capping out your weekend with
Real quick,
Kathy and Kenny.
before we cut out, I like to say on Instagram on Monday nights, I'm going to be doing interview shows because I do spoken word. I'm going to be interviewing spoken word artists on Monday night on Instagram every week, and it's also going to be on Who's Got Next Radio starting this Tuesday.
All right. So look for that. And there are links in the description on our Facebook page as well as our YouTube channel for Kenny's website and his channel and all his activities and who as well as catch us on Who's Got Next Radio. We will see you guys next Sunday night. Kathy and Kenny explaining pop culture. See you guys next week. We wish you love, peace, and pop culture.
God bless your soul and keep living. Peace.
Thank you for geeking out with Kathy and Kenny on Kathy and Kenny Explain Pop Culture.